Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.
One veteran says the military gave him opportunities he never would have had.
Bill McGee says it allowed him to get his education and to see most of the world's continents. Gwen Bevel and photojournalist Nicholas Kiefer show us how, in the meantime, he spent time in 3 wars.
Bill McGee served in World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam, and says one of the most memorable moments during his career was serving as an advisor to the Iranian Army. He saw so much since he signed up to serve when he was just 16.
At that time, you were very limited what you could do in the Navy as a minority.
The seaman deployed to World War II and was stationed at Guam, where he loaded and unloaded ships.
After I got out, and I said, well, I've been in the Navy, so I try something else. So
McGee re-enlisted in the Army a year later and was sent to the 2nd Infantry Division, the Indian Head Division. Then he took a quick leave.
When the war broke out, they sent me a telegram to report back to duty.
So he did, and says in no time they shipped his entire division overseas.
We were the only one that was combat prepared at that time.
McGee says that's because they had been training for more than 2 years leading up to the Korean War.
The combat was brutal because you're dealing with the overwhelming number of Chinese, and then you got to deal with the weather.
He says the soldiers had no cold weather equipment and they were boots on the ground, literally.
Well, yeah, just about. You didn't ride. You walked just about everywhere.
McGee earned this combat infantryman badge and says it's the most coveted of all.
The problem with it, though, you may not survive to wear the combat, infantry badge.
McGee says he always wondered how he did survive.
All of us over there was between 20 and 25. And I would say a third of us didn't make it home.
When he did make it home, he quickly made a change.
If I'm going to survive, I got to get out of the infantry.
McGee says that's when he started in the Signal Corps.
Somebody have to take care of their communication, make sure it works, repair it. And that was part of my job.
It was also his job to prepare those entering the field. McGee spent many years teaching soldiers and would even deploy to Vietnam to do so.
It just shows that the wars I've been in, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Very few can say they served in all 3 wars.
You can see these stripes here.
Or that they gave more than 27 years to the military. McGee has now been retired for decades, but you'll still see this sailor turned soldier at McConnell Air Force Base, volunteering with the American Red Cross, a volunteer duty he's now had for 25 years.
The most satisfying thing I think anyone could do is to try to help somebody else.
Some of you might also recognize McGee as a friendly face from area parks. He worked as a security officer for the park board for 13 years. Here for you, Gwen Bevel, KSN News 3.
On behalf of DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers, we're honored to be here with veteran Bill McGee. Bill served our country in the Navy and the Army, and now as a professional volunteer. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.